What's happening, everybody? Thank you for being here at All Access Live with Kevin Rankin. If you do me a favor, go to the link below, go to youtube.com/@accesskevin. From there, you're going to find over 350 other episodes of amazing guests and fantastic conversations. You can subscribe to that channel. I would love it if you like it and share it. Click the bell to be notified about my upcoming guests. And if you so choose, you can become a member. Members get exclusive access to certain episodes that are only for members. I've also got certain swag packs that I'll give away and some other giveaways. So subscribe at least and share it with your friends. And if you did not know, this episode would not be here if it weren't for my wonderful friends at 5-Star Guitars. 5-Star not only has guitars and amps and accessories, but they do lessons and they do repairs. And if you order outside of Oregon, you'll find that there's no sales tax. So you save a ton of dough. And using this link below with the promo code will allow you to get 15% off everything you see. So use the promo code of All Access Live and save a ton of dough. And please support my great friends at 5-Star. Now, this episode is a little bit different. We did a live recording of this episode in the basement of one of the members in Vancouver, Washington on Super Bowl Sunday. We had some cloud footage, and unfortunately, a lot of that footage got ruined because the Wi-Fi was a little spotty. So what we did was we had some video footage that was shot from my amazing cameraman and co-host, Caleb Rankin, and we pieced that together with some of the audio. So you get a special look at the exquisite taste of plain water. So with no further ado, please take a look at etpw.band and check out the music ahead. Just another story to tell. Just some more shit to sell. It's only in the body to know if it's really me and you. Underneath this full of blue, things are often misunderstood. I need to go while the getting is good. I'm too paranoid apart.
Our whole thing was we're not reinventing the wheel. We're going to just make really melodic rock songs you could sing around a campfire, kind of setting. And we thought that'd be a cool name and funky and original, but marketing has been kind of tough.
Yeah. I mean, you short it for the domain name, right? So
yeah. ETPW.
Yeah. That was a good hook.
Yeah.
Behind you, Jimmy, I saw you've got posters for the summer concert series, and unfortunately, the font has to be so small, right, to be able to get the entire band.
Oh yeah, we've had some really funny experiences where we'll pull up to a venue or a bar that's got a reader board and they do some version of the band's name. Like try to fit it in, and I think one of the more humorous ones was the exquisite taste of plain just the letter P.
Oh,
like,
So pea water is not great.
Yeah, I think one of them too was the exquisite taste of pea water.
Oh,
yeah. Had that.
Hey, that fetish works, man.
Well,
it's not for everybody, but it's for some people.
Yes, absolutely.
We did, it's an interesting story, I think, anyway, that most bands probably don't think about. But when Jimmy and I first started this thing coming out of Throwback Suburbia, we came up with this name, and then we were like, well, we need to get a logo, some kind of logo thing. And so we started putting feelers out, and we had a couple meetings. One was with a guy, a small operation out of his house. And we met with him, but then we had a meeting with someone we knew we couldn't afford. Was it Blue Blazes?
Yeah.
I think they changed their name now, but it's sort of a heavy-hitting firm, We're like, well, I know we can't afford it, but we'll go sit with them, But we were able to get a deal with them and came up with that logo.
Yeah.
It cost some coin, but yeah.
This is the logo that's on the base.
Yeah, that's it,
And gorgeous logo.
So it's kind of cool,
We're not changing it now.
Yeah.
It's obviously you're Pacific Northwest. There's a great reference to
totally.
You've got the mountains and
the mountains and the water,
and the water, absolutely.
Pretty cool.
It's a great logo. Anybody have that tat yet? No tattoos?
Not yet. It's coming though. Yeah, it's coming.
Maybe kind of waiting to see how things go.
It depends on how this interview goes.
Well, I'm thinking if people become members of All Access Live, and
if we hit a certain number, Paul's gonna get this tattoo on his forehead.
Maybe not on my forehead, but I will get it. Yeah,
absolutely,
for sure.
I still haven't decided if I'm still going to stick this out or not.
Oh yeah, man. You made a reference to it. So the band that you guys were in before, Throwback Suburbia, that's a Pacific Northwest band. The three of you guys were in it with Kevin Hahn. Or Mike Collins.
Mike Collins.
Yeah, no, Kevin Hahn.
I was in a band with Kevin and Mike before that.
That's right, Red Sector.
And so that's the funny thing. We used to play in the same bit. So I was in Triple Swift.
Yeah.
And then you were Red Sector. Gas Kings,
Gasoline King, Starter Kid, Sugar Bang, Sweaty Nipples.
Oh, Sugar Bang!
But
Yeah, so we used to play the bills together all the time.
With you as well.
I know.
I remember. I think I was telling Paul when he told me you reached out that I think the Red Sector did a show with you when you were playing with Leah Kruger.
Yeah, on Alama. Yeah.
We were talking about that the other day, and I'm like, so I loved on Alama, and I didn't know that you had played with that group, and I was like, holy shit, that's rad, man.
Yeah, it was a great band.
Great band, yeah.
The music scene is very incestuous. It's like we all know each other through various bands.
And have actually played with each other's bands.
And we played in bands together, and it's just,
Yeah, I had a stint in Sugar Bang, too.
Yeah, that's right.
That's nuts, man.
Yeah.
Now, how about you guys? Jeremy?
I've been playing in the area for the last 20 years or so. I have a couple of projects that I've done before this. Probably nothing too notable, but I've been working in the area.
They formed the path to be able to get to ETPW.
Jeremy here, he's a piano teacher.
He's an instructor, so he's got his own business.
Right on.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Local teacher. I met these guys at a festival. I was running sound out one time, and I was in between projects, and it was just, I liked the music, and I ended up talking to him. And one of the kickers was that we kind of live on the same street.
Yeah, he actually lives right over.
Oh, that's a requirement. You guys all have to be.
You guys feel like 5 houses away from me. I was like, if you ever need a pianist, let me know. But I think John was joining at the time, so they were working the
I was
bass
at that
in.
same show, checking them out.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, about a year later, I just sent Paul a Facebook, like, hey, I'm still in the neighborhood, and then tried it out. And that was 4 years ago now, I guess. Something like that.
Right.
Crazy.
So you can throw a stone to your house. How about you, John?
Well, let's see here. I've been playing for 30 plus years, and I went to school for some music and recording, and changed to healthcare, and then got back into it. And I was taking guitar lessons from Mr. G, Michael G.
Mateo, he's rad.
And he's like, you play bass, and he turned me on to these guys and said, I could get you an audition for him, and I looked on their website and their content, and I went, you know what, I could probably try to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 5 years ago. Just
Yeah.
5 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So the band's been around 5 years now.
Oh, well, yeah,
longer than that,
that.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was actually
It started with literally Paul and I.
there was one song we were it was Jimmy and I were working on it during throwback sessions, and it would be before anyone else got there. It was Space Between the Curves.
Yeah. So we started writing that for
It's
throwback.
sort of folky, kind of like, I don't know. It just didn't feel like a throwback song, kind of. And then Eric came in early one time, and what the fuck is that? And so we started
Just
working,
like that?
We started working on that, and on the side, sort of. And then, yeah, that ended up being the first track that kind of that was a catalyst, sort of, that got the Exquisite going. So we're actually working on this when you lived in a different house, just a block over.
I used to live just 2 houses down.
That was
Yeah.
probably like 2013-ish,
Okay.
14,
Yeah.
when,
Yeah.
when
Wow.
Throwback Suburbia broke up. So, and then I went and saw it. So then Jimmy and Paul, kind of started it, and they had a different drummer. And I went and saw them at a little show at a brewery down here in downtown Vancouver, and was watching them. And I remember thinking to myself, I have got to find a way to weasel my way
Wow,
into this thing.
You're like knocking drummer's knees out.
And well, I was actually
He's got a lot of dirt on Paul and I.
I was in Hawaii on vacation.
Polaroids.
And Jimmy texted me and said, "Hey, do you think you could fill in for a couple of shows?" And I was like, "Oh, I can absolutely fill in for a
Nice.
couple of shows." And
Dodo Bird.
I'm still filling in.
Nice,
Yeah.
That's,
So, yeah.
that's how I got this gig too. Yeah, you mentioned the folky side of things, how different it was from throwback. Since I've known you guys, and I know about the sort of the genres that I'd heard you play with before, and that we play together, it certainly was a different direction, and I was trying to categorize it in my head. Because I heard the Americana influence. You obviously hold like Tom Petty as a reference, but as because you don't want to be pigeonholed,
Right.
And there was a great sort of framework around outlaw country in your bio, and I've not heard the term, but it's an absolutely perfect description of what you guys do.
Yeah.
The tune that you just played, Exit 21, has sort of an upbeat sort of vibe of that. There was a song that I heard when I was doing research on the band that I simply love. I think it's phenomenal. The harmonies are there, and it's got that vibe of outlaw country. Called Campfire.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the
And
Campfire.
it really, I think if somebody were to summarize what The Exquisite Taste of Plain Water is all about, to me, after listening to your stuff, that song tells that story. I don't know if you guys are hip to playing that one, but
We can. We have to do a instrument
switch
switch, but we can do that.
And
Played
just
for a while, but
just to sort of piggyback on what you're saying, like that song was a lot of the sort of spirit of this band when it started. It was like we didn't have a band at the time, and Paul and I were putting some of these songs together. And it was like, I think you had said, like, I want bare bones, like it's all about the song and the story that could be played if the grid went out. Like, and it's just like apocalyptic. There's nothing else nowhere. We could sit around a campfire.
Yeah.
With like
This too.
one guitar and a couple vocals, and that so we kind of wanted that would be sort of the loose rules about all the songs we do. You know, we can articulate that very minimally.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're not dependent on like backing tracks.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
Totally.
Things tend to get bigger.
Yeah,
as
right.
You start.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so this is the requirement. All right, we got an instrument swap.
Yep.
All right.
There might be a little rust on this one. But
Oh yeah. I haven't played this in a hot minute.
Yeah, it has been a bit.
yes, we haven't played this since the last show.
Awesome.
Oh, I need that harmonica though, don't I?
Harmonica.
Harmonica.
Is it G?
Yes, good bet. Good guess.
Or do I need the harmonica? That's only an acoustic version.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe you don't.
I don't think you do harmonica live on this, do you?
No, that's just when I do all acoustic. Okay. I'm down.
All right.
Just tempo.
Okay.
2, 3, 4.
This city is a wilderness, your apartment a cave. It's written in the hieroglyphs along the side of the train, and there's a reason to run, and there's a reason to stay. And if you step up to the campfire, babe,
to say.
We did it.
You guys have history, in terms of other bands you've been in also, but I think the life experiences that we've had, sort of dictate the timbre of a lot of these tunes. Paul, your story about the early days of Throwback Suburbia and just getting ready to tour.
Yeah.
You've got a pretty real and raw, history. You want to talk a little bit about what formed the tour plans?
Absolutely. So I was in a band called Triple Swift, and I was using opiates really. It started off slow and escalated pretty quickly, and I got to the point where actually my band started leaving the band. They were like, because I couldn't progress. I was really in a rut.
Sure.
And about that time, so Triple Swift kind of went under. Then I got a gig playing with James Guffey.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I played with him for a little bit. It kept me sort of playing. He's a brilliant songwriter, by the way. And then these guys approached me with Throwback Suburbia, and I was still in the throes, unbeknownst to them, know. And they offered me the spot.
We found out pretty quick.
We hide that one. We joke because there is a sort of infamous photo shoot that we did, and I would look really very Keith Richards. Yeah, that was bad. But anyway, yeah. So I ended up having to go to treatment about 6 months into the band, I think.
Mm-hmm. Do you mind me asking, how that even developed? Did somebody say that
Yeah, so
relationship?
if to be totally specific about it, anybody that's used or has a problem with opiates, the problem is when you run out.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's kind of what happened. We were having a little function at my house, and I basically I ran out, and my guy I normally get it from was out. And then, so I started getting physically sick.
Yeah.
And so my wife was like, I mean, she'd already kind of known, and she already kind of gave me a couple ultimatums, but then it was really, really bad, like sick stuff. Yeah. And so she was like, yeah, this is it, right? And so, you know, I got 2 little kids, and I really just like, well, I got to fucking change. or I'm going to die. I mean, really, it was bad.
Yeah.
So I actually called a treatment center that night and got in. I didn't even tell these guys yet, but then I had to call them like, hey guys, by the way, you know. And I totally 100% was like, there's no fucking way they're gonna keep me. I mean, like, you know. But every one of them was like, no, we got you. You know, like do what you need to do, and we'll keep progressing. You know.
Yeah.
We really needed a guitarist.
I mean,
We were pretty
They
desperate.
needed the space. You needed a rehersal space.
That's right. He had a van too.
But he's got a drug problem. He's got a van. He's got a rehearsal space. You know, so, but we joke because Eric's been in recovery.
Since I was 17.
Yeah. And Jimmy's well, then you were going to school, I think.
I was in school
for counseling.
I'm a therapist now. So.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like it ended up being like a really beautiful thing. Like I was telling that story earlier. I was in treatment and these guys we have a tour planned, you know. I mean, all down the West Coast, and I was like, well, let me ask at at the treatment center. So I asked them. They're like, hell no, you can't go on. I mean, that is ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it's really important to me, and so they said, well, we just need to figure out a plan, you know. So it was a really cool deal. I mean, Jimmy and I would get up early and go for runs, and we'd go get good coffee in every city we were in.
Nice.
Eric, like I ended up like having to go to A&A something every place we stopped.
Sure.
And there was one day that I stopped, and we were in San Francisco, and I found a meeting on Haight-Ashbury.
Nice.
And I was like, how ironic is
Right?
that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And both Jimmy and Eric supported me. They went with me, and it was really a beautiful thing, man. It's a really great memory for me.
You know, for people that are watching this that might not have sort of anybody to back them up and realize that if you are recognizing you have a problem, you really can find a meeting pretty much anywhere on the planet.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
There are some countries that don't have, like a 12-step or any kind of recovery program, but if you look it up online, you can certainly find a meeting in most places, and if you can't find it in person, you can do a lot of virtual meetings too.
Yes.
Yeah? So,
Yes. And also obviously I can't name drop because it's anonymous, but like I can tell you there's a lot of like really heavy hitting musicians that I met along the way too, and it's really supportive in that, because you think, you're like, it's sort of like, well, you play rock and roll, you're on tour, you got to fucking party, and all this stuff, and they're like, no, you don't.
Yeah,
So,
like that rite of passage is over.
Yeah.
At this point, getting your shit together is a lot more rock and roll.
That's right.
exactly
Totally.
right. Correct.
And using.
Yeah.
So I'm not leaving you guys out. We talked a little bit about recovery, and like Eric, you've got a long history of sobriety, right? Since 17, you said?
Yeah,
So
17.
Like 4 years ago?
Yeah.
Good.
Nice, yeah. Between then and now, I mean, you've been in rock and roll your entire life too, right? So maybe, again, people that might not recognize the challenges, because people think, okay, if you're in a rock and roll band, of course, it's got to be hard to not drink, right? But it gets easier, right, as time goes on.
It does.
Where have you felt like your biggest challenges have been in terms of like maintaining sobriety? Because you've had a lot of health challenges as well.
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about the health challenge?
Yeah, we can talk about whatever.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
All right, so tell me about your kidneys.
Well, I was diagnosed with chronic kidney disease about 12, 13 years ago. When I wound up having a kidney stone that sent me to the hospital. And when they did imaging, to see what was going on, I thought my appendix burst or something like that. The pain was so bad. If anybody's who had a kidney stone, it's pretty bad. And what the imaging showed was that I have polycystic kidney disease, which is where your kidneys just are covered in cysts. And eventually, it's kind of a slow mover disease. If you're going to get kidney disease, it's probably the best one to get because it moves slowly. And eventually your kidneys just get so overcome with cysts that they just cease to function. So your kidney function just goes down. And so in 2020, it got to the point where my kidneys were only functioning at about 20%. And so I hit the kidney transplant list. And miracle upon miracles, 6 weeks later, they had a kidney match for me, which is unusual. Sometimes people sit on the list for years.
Yeah.
Some people die waiting for kidneys, So I got a kidney transplant in May of 2022. And within a week it failed because I developed a blood clot. It was over here on my right side. And the blood clot choked off all the blood supply to the kidney. And the kidney didn't make it. And so about a week after the transplant, they opened me up again and took out the kidney. But I still had my own 2 kidneys, so I was still okay. And then I got back on the kidney list in the transplant list later that fall of 2022, October, November. And then in August of 2023, they found a second kidney for me.
Wow.
So I went in for a second kidney transplant on the left side. And then everything seemed to work okay at first, but then I developed an E. coli infection post-surgery. I went sepsis, and so it got into my blood. All my organs were infected. Everything. People die from that. I could have died. And I was between August and December of 2023, I was probably in and out of the hospital 9 or 10 times. Spent more time in the hospital than I was at home because of this infection. Just kept coming back, and we had such a hard time getting rid of it. And then in January, I started dialysis in January of 2024. Started dialysis. So I still had my own 2 kidneys and the transplanted kidney, but the determination was made that everything needed to come out.
Okay.
Both of my own kidneys needed to come out. They were infected with this infection. And so in February, I had a really big surgery to remove both of my kidneys and the transplanted kidney. And my 2 original kidneys were, between the 2 of them, weighed over 20 pounds. They were so big with cysts, and they were just huge, kind of a thing.
We have photos, by the way.
Yeah, I do have photos.
That's supposed to be on the next album cover.
It's pretty wild. And then I was still in the hospital recovering from that surgery and got woken up in the middle of the night, and some imaging tests that they had done early in the day found that I had an aneurysm in my abdomen on the left side over here, and so they had to rush me into emergency surgery to fix the aneurysm. And so they could have died again, but did that. And then finally, over this past year, as I've been doing dialysis, I've been kind of just slowly but surely getting better, getting stronger, getting healthier. And now I'm doing dialysis from home, which is great. So I do dialysis from home 5 days a week for about 3 hours a day. And I'm now about to get relisted for a 3rd kidney transplant attempt. Doing all my testing this upcoming week to get relisted, going for a 3rd transplant. And we think this one's going to be the one because they've kind of cleaned me out with an ice cream scoop, I like to say. They just kind of took everything out, and I'm feeling good, I'm feeling strong. And, and I'm living walking proof that, this type of disease, it's not necessarily a death sentence, and you can still play rock and roll and do it. I dialyze myself at home five days a week, and I'm here, and we're playing shows. And these guys have been, the support that I've received from the band has been absolutely instrumental in my recovery.
Sure.
It's been incredible.
First of all, props to modern science, right? It's
Totally.
incredible that you really should not be alive had it not been for some of that. But yeah, having the emotional support of your brethren too is amazing. I'm glad you're around, man. Good.
I'm kind of happy.
Really, you've lived a handful of lives, man.
Yeah.
Everybody here has. Jimmy, you mentioned that you're a therapist. You want to talk about sort of what practice, what form of practice?
Yeah, right now I have just a general private psychotherapy practice.
Okay.
So
I'm his only client.
That's a full-time job, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I've been doing that for about 8 years now.
Okay.
Before that, like Paul said, feels like I've been going to school forever, and sort of around that world. So.
And you've got kids.
I have kids now. Yeah, I did a lot of stuff late in life.
Yeah.
So I'm tired.
Well, I bring up the kids because being involved in psychotherapy, there's a lot of emotional energy you're expending and having that energy are already.
Paul's not an easy patient, I can tell you.
But I mean, having the time and the energy to be able to do that with your own kids too. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, there's days where you come home and it's like I just know I don't have it all to give.
Yeah.
And I'm aware of that, and I feel guilty about it, and try to ask for grace from the family when I can get it. But these are tough years, and all I hear this whole time I'm raising kids is Paul's voice in my head, because when I met him, he was where I'm at now with the kids, and so that's really supportive too. Just sort of knowing that we've all walked this path.
Yeah.
So
We joke, my kids, so I've got a boy and a girl, he's got a boy and a girl. And so mine are, 22 and 19
Our
now.
kids are about the same,
Yeah.
age. Yeah.
And so I can remember when my kids were small, and I'd like look out the window. You're ragged, right? And I'd see him. I'd see him walking down to go get a cup of coffee on a. I'd be like, oh, motherfucker, man! Like, and so now it's kind of reversed now.
Yeah, Paul's living life.
Yeah.
I'm on the other side now.
Yeah.
So.
Still a blessing, and these times won't last. It never stays the same. So, but it's a lot.
I'm sure.
I have a new appreciation for parents.
Your songwriting, I'll bet changes, right? Because like you're
And this guy over here, like me, has got twins. So
Do you?
Yeah.
We both have twins.
Yeah.
How old are your twins?
6.
6.
Yeah.
Oh. Are those your only children?
Yeah, besides our dogs.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, that
They're, the furry children too.
6. You look well rested for 6-year-olds. That's
There's about one day a week where I manage to catch up on sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And do you you're exclusively play music for like a living, right?
Kind of. I teach.
Yeah.
So I hang out with my kids in the morning because my wife is a first grade teacher, and then about the time she gets home from teaching school, I head off and teach piano for the evening, and then sometimes meet these guys after. So yeah,
But
it's a pretty good life.
Music is your life, besides being a family.
It's everything.
That's beautiful,
It's
man.
Yeah.
Every musician's dream, right? Is to be able to make
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But,
Working 2 jobs, right? Every musician's dream.
but I mean, as long as it's in music, man,
Right,
yeah.
yes.
You're a Portland native as well.
Yeah. Oh, Vancouver.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I grew up.
Let's separate ourselves a little bit.
At this point, I understand you got a great waterfront now.
Yeah.
It's growing. I like this side a little bit better myself.
Yeah. Now, John, are you from here as well?
From Idaho.
What part?
Yeah, Twin Falls.
Yeah, he commutes for practice.
Yeah, it's a subway.
Yeah.
I know Twin
Yeah.
Falls well.
Yeah.
I'm originally from Montana. Did that trek.
Okay, yeah.
We felt like we were rock stars when we got across the border, and man,
Is it Bozeman? Is that where you're?
I'm from Bozeman.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
okay.
right.
Yeah. Hey, here's to
Yes.
here's to
I spent a lot of time in over the last few years because my daughter plays sports, softball, college stuff. But she in Missoula, and what a rad town that
cool
is.
city. Yeah. If I was
Man.
gonna live back in Montana, that'd probably be the town.
Yeah, that's a super cool place, man. Really enjoyed it.
I was I was born there. Spent a lot of time there.
Yeah.
In college, like high school and college, we did that whole circuit, right? In Montana, Idaho, Washington,
Yeah.
Wyoming, and there are the sort of mood and the temperament of people. It's changed a little bit. I mean, people that have like migrated there.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's not as an authentic vibe, but I think the personalities of people, especially the music you're playing right now,
Yeah.
I think this really is suited
Yeah.
for that. I don't want to call it a circuit.
Yeah.
But there was a sophistication in the college towns between Bozeman and Missoula, the universities. You had the ski resorts there, and so there's an earthy
Yeah.
vibe
Yeah.
to those cities, and there's an earthy vibe to your music.
Yeah.
Stylistically, is this kind of like something that you two, Jeremy and John, is this something that you were playing before, or is this kind of a new direction for you guys?
For me, it's new.
Yeah.
I played rock and roll. I did some jazz in college. The Americana. I played guitar and some other things, but kind of the outlaw country. It was definitely new.
Yeah.
But it was a learning experience, and I said, oh well, let's do the best I can, and now it's part of what I do.
Which is crazy because when he joined, he just fit hand in glove.
Yeah.
I mean, so even though he says it's new, it didn't seem like it was new when he joined. It was just like, it was a seamless, yeah.
Well, you can hear influences a little bit, like if you're studied in jazz, right?
Yeah.
And you hear guys that they've got all the facilities to be able to pull off like chops, But if you've played rock and roll and you're listening a lot, I mean, really, it's about listening. Right?
Okay.
So if you fit hand in glove, it's because you've listened to a lot of different stuff. Right? And, if you were 17-year-old Johnny Cristo in Twin Falls, Idaho, and you thought, okay, when I'm 35, this is my dream gig, what would it be?
35. Well, Steve Harris.
Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah. Right on.
You know, well, probably more kind of Lee Sklar, Tony
sweet.
Levin,
Yeah.
kind of like, you know, being in the songwriting process, being a melodic bass player and being the kind of the glue.
Yeah.
And, you know, making hooks for songs.
Nice.
That would be probably more than being in a spotlight, but just doing the magic between the drummer and the bass player and carrying the melodicism for, of the other instruments. That's the magic.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
I think that's what he's talking about. Is that's so much fun. Like, for example, like I think when you came in, we were working on a song, and so I've got like a handful of these songs. I just kind of, hey, here's some bones, and some lyrics and stuff like that, and then just everybody has input. What about this or what about? And it's like, let's try it, and then it's pretty bitchin', man. Like it ends up becoming something, and that everybody's got their fingerprints on, So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Oftentimes we'll start a song that by the time we're done working on it, we're say like, okay, this is the song. Sometimes doesn't even resemble very much what we started with. It's like it morphs and changes as we, sometimes we change the chord progression a little bit, or John will have something, or Jeremy will come up with something about, hey, let's try going minor here, or let's go major here, or whatever. It's cool.
You mentioned the melodicism between bass and drums. I mean, Eric, I've known you as a bassist before as well, so I would imagine that you're listening to those parts. You're, like I said early on, your parts are they're sparse in a way that allows everything to breathe, those notes to be there, and the string instruments without kind of stepping on those.
I mean, when we're playing live and when we're writing, I'm keeping John in mind almost more than anything else. It's like, because the bass and the drums have to be locked. John's a phenomenal bass player for me to play with. It's like we work really well together.
Speaking of playing live, I don't know if you guys would agree with me, but I've talked about this with a lot of other musicians on the show. There's an unexplainable butterfly thing that happens in the belly, right? When you chase this, I've talked about it being sort of sexual. There's an orgasmic kind of vibe there.
Right.
But for me, it's happened maybe, I could count the time on two hands in my entire life, where your eyes roll back, you're not thinking about anything, flush, just the energy on stage. Can you talk about maybe some experiences you've had where that just euphoric energy has happened with Exquisite Taste of Plain Water? Like, what's the best magical show that you guys can remember on hand? Do you have one, Jeremy?
With this?
Kalama was pretty.
And if it hasn't happened, then just next question.
I'm trying to think of when I've had an orgasm on stage.
Think about when I haven't.
I mean, I think generally it depends on the venue, but like lately we kind of sort of started. God, when it was a duo, we were just playing like Trapdoor Brewing, like really low key, small stuff, and started kind of building a little bit of a following and stuff. And then we were like, well, we need a venue, we need a bigger venue, so we started doing the Brick House downtown, and then started rolling that, and that was cool. But now we've been doing the Cascade Barn Grill, which the sound there is fucking awesome. And so we've been doing that, and I think the last few shows there have been amazing, man. It's just really felt locked in, and like, that feeling where you actually, you have the usual sort of fans you see a lot. Sure. But then there's a lot of other people like kind of stepping out from the other room and then buying merch and that kind of thing. That for me is like, okay, those are new ears. They know what's up. You know what I mean? Right. Man, that's the hardest part. Sure. That is the hardest part, man. Getting and I know this is probably unrelated, sort of, but back to what Jeremy playing music for a living. Yeah. All these guys together. This latest record, was fucking expensive, man. Oh yeah, right. Sure. And to do it right. And to do it right, right. Yeah. And with the knowledge that you're not going to get paid back what you put into it. I'm talking about just strictly dollar and cents thing. And so everybody agreed to not get paid. I mean, every dollar we made went right back into this record. And we just now are
I think
Zero?
I think
We had
zero.
$100, right?
So now we've, but I mean, like for me, that was like the commitment level for every. I mean, he's like, people got kids, people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I said, badass record, man. Now we just need to get ears and eyes on it. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the payoff. I
Yeah.
mean, people outside that don't play music might think that, oh yeah, well, if you're in a band, you put a record out, it's got to sell tons, right? And you know, you guys are probably rolling in, you know, like limos, and the amount of blood, sweat, tears, emotional energy, physical energy, like all that stuff that makes us gray, but also keeps our cup full.
Yeah.
And that's why we do this thing.
Yeah.
And so the new ears, the new eyeballs that you talked about coming out to see you, if you're sharing that experience and the enthusiasm that's there, they can see that there's reverence on stage. You guys all like each other or love each other, and you support each other, and then the music conveys the same message. That's key. So getting new eyes and ears on it it's key, because you know you've got your baby out there. You want people to discover your baby,
right?
You know, so. For people to be able to see this, what's the next opportunity? What's the next live show for Exquisite Taste of Plain Water?
I think currently, I mean, we have a bunch of stuff in the works, but I think the next one's not until April. I think.
April.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Cascade Bar and Grill in
What April?
Vancouver.
What, you know?
11th?
I think it's the 11th.
Okay.
Yeah, Cascade Bar and Grill in Vancouver. Yeah, is the next show.
Yep.
You've got a great presence online, so anybody that might be looking for that can certainly go to etpw.com.
Dot
band.
Oh, dot band.
Dot
Yeah,
band.
etpw.band.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, so if you guys are watching this, you can see the link down below. There's a caption right there, so I just misspoke. But somebody already had .com. I'm sure that was
They did.
law firm.
When I was searching the interwebs for what was what, .com was taken, .net was taken, even .org was taken. So
You gotta be
So
careful.
the content, like our online presence, we owe to our 6-member Ian Southworth, who
oh wait,
he's over in the shadows.
Hey Ian, hold on.
yeah,
That guy over there.
That guy.
over there he is, in the lurking in the shadows.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he actually was a big fan and friend of the band of Triple Swift back in the day.
Okay.
And
Spin Doctors.
man, he films. He comes with us. I mean, to rehearsals, to shows, and then he films content. So there's actually, with this full-length record, a feature-length film that's going to go with it.
No kidding. Wow.
And so you can watch, like on our YouTube channel, you can watch sort of the snippets and
And on the website.
chapters, and on the website, of his work. And what we hope to do is, now that the record's out, we hope to do a run of vinyl, and we hope to get eyes on this film.
Yeah.
Maybe at Kiggins Theater, somewhere where we can invite everyone we know and come see it. And we're excited about it. It's really cool.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
So,
Yeah. In the show notes, folks, if you're watching this, make sure that you look down below. I'll make sure that we've got a link to all of Ian's work, the previous music videos. And, the real important thing for me to convey on this show, is that everybody's got their authentic stories, is really, they're unique in themselves. Knowing more about your guys' history, and talking about Paul and Eric and Jimmy, having watched you guys for the last 20, 25 years, to see you develop, this, really, I mean, you've just become incredibly inspiring in your maturity and your, as parents, and really, I mean, what an adversity. Like overcoming the amount of adversity you have, Eric, and your health is amazing, man. So it's everybody out here that's watching this show can certainly benefit from watching this amazing story unfold. If we're gonna play it out with one last song, what do you guys feel like you want to have?
You and me?
You and me?
You and me?
Yeah.
All right. So You and Me is a duet. So I wrote this with to be a duet.
Okay.
And I had this girl in mind out of Woodland, Mandy Cody, who's just beautiful voice, and I think her and Brandy Lynn are in a group called The Lights.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're
We were helped record some songs.
Some
for
of their
them,
stuff,
some
yeah.
music
Okay.
for them.
But I thought Mandy would be great for this song, and she kind of inspired me to finish the second verse. I had the first verse all dialed. Anyway, so if you go and see some of Ian's work, You and Me, the video right now is what we're pushing that right now, and it's getting quite a few views and getting a lot of reviews and that kind of thing. It's actually got her duetting with me,
Okay.
but it's Jimmy and I now, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna
You
play
guys
the-
are so cute together.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be Mandy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
today's part by Mandy.
Yeah.
Well, great. You know what I'll do? I'll bring the camera back around if you guys want to do your thing. And again, I will take the You and Me video, the original video,
Yep.
and I'll put that in the show notes as well. So we'll have that down embedded. You can see it at accesskevin.com.
Awesome.
Gentlemen, April 11th you mentioned is the next
Yeah.
show at
Yep.
Cascade.
Yep.
And etpw.com.
.band.
.band. I'm going to back that up. Yes.
Yeah.
If etpw.com has some kind of really like bad negative
Yeah,
I'm
reputation,
sure
it
it's
looks.
cool, but it's not as cool as
Maybe not.
ETW.band.
It might have some evangelical stock trading or something like that. But yeah, so etpw.band
Yeah.
is where you can find not only the new shows, but
Yep.
all sorts of
And the full length record, we did it in 3 chapters, and it's actually called Sailor Songs or Battle Hymns.
Okay.
So it's 10 songs
Yeah.
in 3 chapters, if that makes sense. But
Beautiful.
out now, everywhere.
All right,
So,
fantastic. And we're
yeah.
going to see You and Me played by Mandy, a.k.a. Jimmy Evans, and
Yeah.
Paul.
Let's do it.
Yep.
All right, Jim,
All right.
let's rock this thing.
Do it.
All right.
Ready?
Tempo?
Maybe we should go on back to dancing. It was too good dancing. You always left me waiting in the wings to see what your dancing shoes might bring. With the music going round, we will be found. It's not the way it's supposed to be with you and me. We should go on back to driving, counting all the headlights on the highway. You were sinking in the passenger seat, and I was lying wide behind the wheel. A million highways left to run. We only need just one, and that's the way it's supposed to be. You and me. Spend time daydreaming all night long, and our days chasing around the sun. Remember when we used to sit, look on and fix our here we go. The time to kill. Love is the western sky. The stars sparkle in the night. That's the way
Beautiful. The Exquisite Taste of Plain Water. You can check them out at www.etpw.band. Thanks again to Exquisite Taste of Plain Water. You guys are wonderful. I hope you guys subscribe to this channel. Make sure you go to youtube.com/@accesskevin. Thanks again to 5 Star Guitars for sponsoring it. Gentlemen, good luck with this record. Look forward to seeing you guys live soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.